Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sales Spotlight, your go to podcast for cold emailing and sales. I'm your host, Anil, and today we have a very special guest with us, Nikita from Meldoso. Meldoso is an cold email infrastructure tool, software, or platform, you can say, right? And today we are going to discuss a lot of stuff about email delivery, best practices, what is going in the market, and how everything is going on. So, before we talk about a lot of stuff, hey Nikita, welcome.
Hey. Thank you for inviting. Um, I'm super excited being here.
Yes. So we will be discussing a lot about email delivery and other stuff. So before we jump into that, Nikita, can you please tell us a bit about your background and what inspired you to build Meldoso?
Yeah, sure. So, somewhere between 1.5 or 2 years ago, we launched a marketplace for SEO professionals called Backlink Swappers. And because for us, it was highly important to kind of to grow our network of partners of clients in a targeted way because like in SEO well effectively if we have a few partners in the software security space, it doesn't make any sense to kind of um, bring other partners from other niches. So we had to kind of be laser focused, and that's why we were using cold email. And then we quickly realized there's like a lot of constraints for us on this market, so we start building our own infrastructure, cold email infrastructure. We automatically set up domains, create mailboxes, we rotate IP addresses and stuff. And then at maximum we were sending 10 to 20,000 emails every single day, and we used cold email was the only channel for customer acquisition for us. And at maximum we had over 600 partners. And then at certain point I was sharing with my friends how we do cold email, how we do all this setup. And like we actually were in the situation where our cold email tech stack were a lot more complex than the product itself. So so I was sharing with my friends how we do cold email, and they were amazed, and they were saying like, "Hey, can you teach me to do the same?" And I was like, "There's so many details. Like it's going to be like very
Yeah.
difficult. So let me just simplify it and like make it in a product that you can use." So we launched MailDosa, and then we quickly realized that it makes sense to pivot the company. So we pivoted from SEO marketplace. The team remained the same, infrastructure the same. We just changed the name, the website, but all the rest remained the same.
Okay. So since when you guys are building this? I think from 2022 or when?
Infrastructure we start building, yeah, in January 2022. The idea that was in Serbia, in airport of Nikola Tesla. I remember when I literally bought domain right in the airport. I like take my phone. I took my phone and and purchased domain. So yeah, this is where when it started.
Oh, great, great. Okay. And Nikita, if we talk about these days, a lot of chatting in the market, like the outlook is becoming more strict on cold emailing and other ESPs also, right? So, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that, right? What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. So so it's not that they like against cold email. To be honest, like both. Like I attend a lot of webinars of Google and Microsoft, where they share their deliverability advice with engineers. So it's more of engineering webinars, and they clearly like aware about cold email market. They totally fine with this. However, there is like very unique and very interesting situation on the market right now, is that it's totally okay doing cold email. It's like common business practice. A lot of companies, including public ones, they have sales departments who reach out to their customers over LinkedIn, over email, over other channels. There are public companies that automate cold email. However, it's very difficult on the infrastructure level to do cold email because of blacklisting companies whose it's mostly non-profit organizations. Their job is to fight spam. And well, of course, they doing it good. The problem with spam is somewhat solved. And however, like according to their definition of spam, cold emailers is also a threat, some kind of threat, some kind of spam. So they aggressively blocking IP addresses that send unsolicited emails, and then those blacklisting companies, they can shut down like entire hosting provider with I don't know a few thousand websites,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
that there have been a lot of histories like that, like a lot of cases like that when they shut down like 5,000, like a hosting provider with 5,000 websites on it, because there was too many cases where their clients were doing spam. And these companies, they create a lot of pressure on Google and on Microsoft, because these are big companies. They kind of they have some room to not react very fast and stuff, but there is a lot of pressure. So it's like a real threat that overnight all their IP addresses worth gazillion of dollars can be blacklisted. Currently, if you look at the spam house stats, Google and
Yeah.
Microsoft, actually their IPs are the ones that are most often accused in spam activities. So and because of this pressure, they have to kind of cooperate with these organizations, and they have to enroll some kind of barriers, even though they don't really want to do this, but they have to. So they have to create more and more barriers for cold emailers, so that they so it's like basically making their life more difficult, which is like quite handy for us because we do an opposite. We make life of cold emailers a lot more easier, and we of course very well aware about the current market situation, and we built our platform in a way so that it's resilient to most of the risks that are on the market.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I also have a same thought on that, because ESPs are not supposed to or doing they are not restricting valuable cold emailers, right? They are just try to stopping the spammers only, right? So which is something happening. One more thing, so whenever I open up my LinkedIn in the morning, right, I see a lot of mentions, and everyone is talking about mailed also these days, right? So which is, I think, great stuff, right? But there are a lot of other tools as well in the market, right? A few players these days in cold email infrastructure market, right? So how mailed also sets itself apart from the rest of the competition? Yeah.
Okay, that's a good question. From my perspective, to be honest, there is not enough of competition on the market. This
Mhm.
market is, I would say, um,
Comparatively new.
yeah, and because of those, threats that I previously mentioned, it's like it's very hard to like to enter new players, because what a lot of people run into, their IPs get blacklisted and they can't continue their operations, and we see this quite often. And then there are two type of. I believe we've chosen the most difficult path. We don't resell someone else hosting solution. There are most of the cold email infrastructure companies. They either resellers, they resell Google Workspace or Namecheap or whatever, and then the another category of cold email infrastructure, they sell you a dedicated private server with unlimited mailboxes, and then you can use it to send cold emails. So in both cases, there are these two paths are the easiest to start. Unlike them, we decided to not go into any of these directions. Instead, we built our own infrastructure um, in the same way as email hosting providers do. So we don't provide a dedicated IP address because it's bad. I'm gonna explain it later. And then we don't resell, third-party solution. And then with these two type of cold email infrastructure companies, so resellers, they quite often you might there were a lot of cases where they were shut down because of the market threats that I already mentioned. Because most email hosting providers, they don't want to have problems with spam databases like Spamhaus, etc. And then there is the second category with dedicated IP address. We just noticed that it's impossible to have good deliverability over a long period of time with just one IP address, because it's getting blacklisted and stuff. And for our clients, our clients send out emails from hundreds of IP addresses, and if even if one of them getting blacklisted, they don't even notice this. And then our automations automatically pull this IP address out of sending pool and replace it with a new one with a warmed up. And then so all this happens. So our clients don't even know about this. And there is a lot of advantages over it, but mostly because of this unique position on the market, we became experts in deliverability, and we clearly see that the traditional email hosting infrastructure cannot be built the same way as the cold email infrastructure. And we apply so many features and settings on our infrastructure that improve the cold email deliverability, that cannot be implemented in other cases. So in other words, we provide way better deliverability, and in the long run, we clearly see how we can provide way better deliverability than you can get with Gmail, for example, with Google Workspace, by
Yeah.
an order of magnitude. We already can help our clients to achieve that level of deliverability when we're consulting. And currently, we actively productize all our experience to make it available to all our customers. And even if they not very well, even if they not very experienced with cold email, they still will get amazing deliverability because of all the features that we implementing. If Sorry for a long answer, but
Yeah, no worries, no worries. It was required, right? Because it is kind of new in the market, and a lot of folks wanted to understand about it. So the next one is Nikita, as per you, so a lot of cold emailers make mistakes, right? So a lot of businesses are making mistakes while they do cold emailing, right? So what are the common mistakes you see they are doing?
okay. I actually, this is one of
Specifically,
the
yeah. So specifically, in terms of deliverability related mistakes.
Yeah, sure. So with deliverability, basically like spam filters, they scan your email and then they make decision based on its content quite often, like whether it should land in inbox or in spam folder. And one of the most common mistake that people do is they forget about checking for spam words, which I believe Sales Handy very helpful to their customers, because I've noticed you guys have this feature. You highlight how many spam words you have in your sequence, which is like super
Yeah.
helpful. So ideally, you want to have like zero spam words. It's okay if you have like one or two, but sometimes it's better to have zero. And then, and because like even one word can the difference between 100% deliverability and all your emails go to spam can be just one word that you've forgotten to remove. So, and I think you did a brilliant job outlining those spam words in the sequence so that people could remove
Yeah.
them. Yeah, I think it's the biggest thing.
Yeah, so because when we were analyzing 1 year ago, I think 1.5 year ago, right? So there were a lot of our users, our customers were also making the kind of mistakes, right? And then we decided to include it into the our editor, so where they frame their cold emails, right? And now it is helping a lot, all right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's for sure.
any other mistake that you see that people are
Yeah.
making?
Yeah, that's a good good question. So this is the main one. There are quite handful of others that we actually we recently published a deliverability guide that is extremely helpful to anyone, regardless of what email provider you use to send your cold email. And like there, we outline all possible scenarios where you might run into like problems. So I highly recommend checking on our website. It's in the bottom of the page. There is like deliverability guide, and the we mentioned there that there is a quite a few tweaks that you can make to improve your deliverability. First of all, is to remove links from your emails. So the ideally, if you don't have any links, and then the second one is to send emails in text only mode, because what we've noticed is that even so the spam filters, they want to protect their users from viruses and phishing attempts, and from their perspective, text only emails are the safest because there is like limited number of possibilities you can include virus or something. So they kind of allow those emails land in inbox more often. So this is one of the biggest things. So if you want to improve your deliverability, text only mode would help you a lot. Yeah, so I would say these three things are the major: spam words, links, and the text only mode currently works the best. Although, like HTML emails can also like can have great deliverability. You can get the amazing results, but quite often we see that it's a game changer when you switch to text only.
And one more thing, have you seen any impact of open tracking? So keeping the open tracking on has impacted on email deliverability.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, it's yeah. So because of the what I've mentioned, so sometimes um, open rate. So like open rate tracking, it's done by uh, like cold email platforms like Sales Handy. Basically, insert an image into email, and this is how it's possible to track whether email is opened or not. Is by looking. Is this user loaded this image that is hosted on our server? and then they look in spam filters. They might perceive these images as a threat and block all emails that contain this image. And as sometimes you just need to disable open rate tracking, and you're back into inboxes. Um, yeah, so that's a good point. However, there are some cases where you actually can achieve great deliverability with open rate tracking enabled, but it's always
Debatable.
recommend recommended to test to have like at least few versions like with open tracking enabled without text only mode, so you can compare results and then make informative decision based on reply rate. Um, yeah.
So, Nikita, I just wanted to know from your side that how Maildoso integrates with cold email sending tools, and how it increases the effectiveness of the entire outbound workflow.
Yeah, sure. So basically, our customers, when their infrastructure is ready, they can export all their mailboxes in one CSV file suitable for Sales Handy, for example, and then go to Sales Handy and upload all their mailboxes in just a few clicks. It doesn't take more than like 1 minute. And then, so by default, custom domain tracking is set up on all domains that we set up. So the all mailboxes are already integrated with tools like Sales Handy. So your customers, for example, they can just when they ready to scale their cold email campaigns, they can just get new mailboxes, connect to Sales Handy, and start warming them up in like literally no time.
Hmm, got it. And what kind of impact you see from the personalization side, right? For example, if someone is using more personalization, right, beyond the first name personalization, right, how it impacts email deliverability.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, um, like having proper personalization and versus not having, the difference in reply rate can be like 10x. So, however, does that mean that like every personalization works? No. What I see, some companies they try like a few tweaks to personalize their emails. They don't see big difference in replies, and they stop doing this. However, I highly encourage people to keep experimenting, because it's always like it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that personalization doesn't work in their case. It just mean that they haven't like found a right angle, right level of personalization for them. In our case, we see that when we personalize our emails versus we don't personalize, the difference in reply rates 10x. But so we've done like nearly 30 experiments before we figure out what's working for us, and then we scaled. So this is something that I often advise to other folks in the industry to experiment as much as possible, until so it is essential to do a ton of experiments before you find something that's work for you.
Yeah. And we have also seen at Sales Handy that we're using the proper personalizations, right? Using the proper mistakes, right? And they are getting good results out of that, right? Uh, Nikita, can you
Amazing.
please share any advance or any case study of a customer who used Maildoso and they are getting significant outreach improvements these days?
Oh, yeah, there is like a lot of cases like that. I believe So nearly 30% of our customers came to us because somebody recommended us, and this is it's basically it says a lot about results that our customers get. Um, we I can yeah I can mention one of the cases that just recently happened. So
Okay.
it's a small company. They start using our they start using our product, but for some reason their results were mediocre, and we highly encourage all our customers reach out to us if they don't see great results, because our customer success team is highly trained in, so they can give like very valuable advice on how you can improve it. And they reach out to us. We look at their campaigns. We found what exactly stopping their emails from getting into in inboxes in 100% cases, and then we help them to improve the situation. And they said like now they have 100% open rate, which
Oh,
I believe it's which I believe it's the matter of how the platform tracks open rate. But before that it was like not even close to this. um, so and then they start asking like questions like,
so
I
they were
have
send. Okay, so they were sending on a scale or what? Right? It was a
uh,
small amount.
Yeah. So this company, no, it's not on a scale. So this specific company, they have under 100 mailboxes, so they don't send like massive campaign, but it's somewhat. It's not a it's not a small. It's not a small scale at all. However, we certainly have clients that send tens of thousands emails every single day, and they get hundreds of positive replies every single day, because of our infrastructure and of course our advice that we give them.
So as I can see these days on LinkedIn or everywhere, and your users are getting kind of benefit out of Meldoso. So what kind of innovative features or updates can user expect from Meldoso in the near future?
That's a very good question. So, like in reality, most of our features are unseen for our users, and we have nearly 12 projects that's going to be released in the next few months that will significantly improve deliverability of our users, but they mostly unseen because it's something that happens on the back end, on the server side, on the database side. So, but one of the most uh, um, I would say excited thing is that we're going to implement global custom domain tracking. So our users, they
Oh,
will have custom domain tracking enabled by default, even if it's not enabled on the. So even if they forgotten to enable it on Sales Handy, for example, so all tracking pixels will have custom domain tracking,
yeah,
and it's
that
going
would
to be
be really
live.
helpful, I think.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
really.
going to be live like very soon. So because we see um, uh, that sometimes people forget to enable it, but custom domain tracking have like a major impact on deliverability. So we're going to enable it by default to everybody.
And we can see AI everywhere these days, right? AI, and AI, right? So, what do you anticipate the future of email delivery outbound in AI, right?
I actually think that AI opens like a lot of opportunities for cold emailers, but also it creates a lot of risks for them. As we can see, email providers like Google and Microsoft, they currently don't use AI in their spam filters. That's why it's relatively easy to get into inboxes. especially when you know what you're doing. But when they implement something like, so I just anticipate that there will be some, a moment when they implement AI that will basically, ask a question: Is it a cold email? And then ChatGPT can uh, very easily identify if it's cold email or not, and then just put it in the in the spam folder. So I think AI creates a lot of opportunities for cold emailers these days, but also creates a lot of risks. So
Yeah, because this is the era of AI, automation, and APIs. Three A's,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Okay,
That's
so
for sure.
now it's a time for a rapid fire round, right? So I'll be asking back to back questions. So,
Okay.
first one, most important metric to track in a cold email campaign.
Reply rate.
Yeah, that is the most crucial, specifically positive reply, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
One tip for improving reply rate.
Use soft call to actions. Offer something that's easy to agree. Don't ask for a meeting right away.
What is your favorite subject line if you have used or seen anywhere?
Okay, I'm gonna reveal something. It's haven't been shared publicly yet, so it's kind
Oh,
of, but it's been
so
working very well for us.
secret.
First name, have a seat.
Oh, that's great. I think everyone should not this subject line because it's a secret kind of. Okay, and best tool for email delivery monitoring.
These days, I would say mail reach.
And before that, which you used to be, I think you used to
Yeah,
use.
yeah, yeah. These days we use mail reach, but in the future we're going to release our own deliverability monitoring. So, and I will, like, in a few months from now, I will say mail does.
Yeah, that's great news. What is your go-to strategy for handling bounces and unsubscribes?
Yeah, that's a good question. Bounces are a big problem, so I always make sure to verify leads before start emailing them, because it's very easy to get your domains burned if you don't verify it. And of course, like um, I always recommend treat unsubscribes with respect, and don't follow up with them, because you know they kind of give you a favor by not clicking on a spam button. So try to treat them well.
That was a really insightful conversation. Thank you so much, Nikita, for being here today, and thank you so much, our whoever is watching this podcast and who is listening. Right? Yeah, Nikita, thank you so much again.
Yeah, and thank you for inviting me. It was a very nice conversation.